Welcome to What Have You, featuring Rachel Jankovic and Rebecca Merkel. This audio is brought to you by Canon Press. Before we get started, I wanted to make sure you knew that a featured guest of What Have You, Nancy Wilson, has a new podcast called Femina. Every Friday, Nancy shares a quick, Bible-saturated devotional that covers all matters of the Christian life. You can find the Femina podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
Becca Merkel.
And
We're branching out today, guys.
we're in a house.
We just sat down on Rachel's couch.
Unprecedented.
It actually is.
We might have tried one time, but we got so distracted being in a bigger space that we didn't
I do think the car is good because it keeps us focused.
Yeah, there's less
else.
wandering around.
No.
I can start, since we're in here, I could be like, hang on while I go do something else for a minute. But I'll try to not do that today. Becca, people keep sending me this. I wish that I had it in front of me so that I could just read it to you. But it's this thing about what it doesn't mean when mom says she wants a break.
Oh, I've been seeing that
Have
dorky
you?
tot thing.
It is like,
Oh my
I'll tell you
word.
what I see when I see that. Nobody's gonna like me for this statement, but whatever. The person who I don't know who wrote it. I don't know this. I'm just saying that the archetype, the woman who is speaking thusly. What is she like? Because I'll tell you, I see a pair of pleated khakis pulled up way too high and a bowl cut and an incredible bad attitude of bossiness. Like when I say this is what I mean, and I do not mean. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I'm seeing a quilted vest.
Yeah, and very bad tudes.
And when
very
I say quilted,
bossy,
I mean patchwork.
very limited self-awareness at all. Like no ability to notice herself as a character in the story. That list, because it's for those of you who don't know which one I'm talking about. It's when mom says she needs a break. It's like, it does not mean. And then it's a long list of things that people might offer you as a break.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you like me to watch your kids while you go to
while
the
you
grocery
go to the grocery
store?
Or
That's not a break.
I'll keep the kids while you take a shower. I can still hear them screaming from within the shower. Or like, just, it seems really generally to be like, everything you offer me is not enough. And when I say jump, I want you to say how high on the way up. And it's not an attractive...
Gosh, no.
Or inviting, or
No.
inspirational.
No.
Nothing. It's just demanding. I mean, like, but it's not because, I feel like we always have to say this, it's not because if you can go out and have a real relaxing time by yourself.
Great.
Well,
celebrate
live
that.
the dream. I mean, that's great. But I just wonder how well it would go over the man's version.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I want you to look nice, I don't mean a ponytail. That's normal. When I say I want to eat dinner, I don't want no dang casserole. That's what lazy people make. I mean, I feel like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
gosh.
it's a weird kind of, as though your husband has no other thing to accomplish in his life other than giving you a break.
It is shockingly self-absorbed.
Yes. And dark. Like, just really unfun.
But there's also the motivation to post that on the internet so as to let other people share in your self-absorption.
And make sure that others know that people around you have not been doing enough to give you a break.
But it also, if other people are acting that way too, it does in some sense vindicate you from also acting that way.
Hi, Moses.
Moses. Hi, Moses.
Hi, friend. How are you?
Good.
Good. There might be other reasons that being indoors is distracting.
It's true.
Welcome back again to What Have You after a mini break. Yeah, so anyways, it is that just radical, only tuned into your own experience of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of like if you're on an airplane, someone who's like really yelling and flipping out about how something really moderate is not helping their comfort level or whatever. And you're like, but what kind of joy and comfort are you bringing to everyone else who paid for their seat? And you yourself are bringing the tone down. You're not making it better.
Yeah, there's just a lot of that spirit. I feel like that's a bit of the spirit of the age right now.
It is.
Because the demanding everyone else behave in certain ways for my safety, my comfort, my peace of mind. You know, like, okay, my daughter was out on Main Street watering some plants out in front of the church office without a mask. Nobody else was around at all. And a woman saw her from across the street. And
Sound effects. Being indoors.
Good. It is. It's good. Sink on full roar. But a woman sees her from across the street, comes all the way over to her, walks up, gets very in her space, takes her own mask off, and then goes, "Where's your mask?" And then puts her mask back on.
It's so weird.
And walks away. It's just that everybody feels like, you know what I ought to bring to this is criticisms of everyone else.
Like, I think putting my best foot forward right now and really doing my small part to further society. That's the part that's so funny. Let me assist. Whoa. Wow. Chocolate face. Go get a paper towel. I know, that's what I was thinking. That was a turnaround time into chocolate face that went faster than I expected.
Yeah. But I just feel like it does make you realize that a lot of people have a deep desire to attack other people. Right?
Yeah. And they like a little excuse for it.
Yeah. Like if you can come up with a good reason to criticize everyone else.
I also saw a post that was sent to me of a woman who, it ties in nicely with our emotional exhibitionism episode. It's a photo of herself in a big snot-faced cry time.
Nothing's better than those.
With a real long talk about all the dark deeds she'd been doing that day. Yeah, no love, not take. Love ya. Just go play upstairs. So she documented, this is the face of a woman who yelled at her 14-year-old. And this is the face of a woman who yelled at her 11-year-old. And this is the face of a woman who yelled at her 9-year-old. And this is the face of a woman who, it was a lot of that. And all the things she cursed at an old man at the grocery store for walking down the wrong direction in the aisle multiple times. Like, it was sort of like she'd had a full day. Like, if she did all that in one day, she was on a just hot streak of evil all around her whole life. Mad at her children for not being able to operate Google Classrooms. Mad at everyone for everything.
Sure.
Mad. But she finishes it with sort of a, love you. Okay, go play. Finishes it with sort of a...
Can I do something else down here?
If you do something quiet, because we're doing a podcast. So if we have to talk a lot, then we'll mess it up. Okay? So yes, you can play down here, that's fine. But not the piano. So then there was a long interval of sort of self-praise about how she's actually more patient than everyone she knows. She's like an incredible patient.
This is as witnessed what?
Because of what she's usually not.
Today.
Usually she's amazing, and that this time she wasn't as good. But she's bringing it around to tell us all to just phone it in because it's too hard. Like like this coronavirus time, it's too stressful and too hard. Like, just turn on the TV for your kids and don't worry about everything. Like, the message was about when you had a substitute teacher in school and they would always roll in the video cart to just be like, clearly I can't handle this, so why don't you just watch a video?
Okay.
She's kind of like, so we should all be doing that. Like, kind of like, let's just be kind to us. And but I really wonder about this desire to be so kind. Like, everyone, practice kindness to yourself when what you've been doing is screaming fireballs at everybody else. Like, you're not practicing kindness. Like when you indulge in anger to other people, that is trying to comfort yourself. Like, that is trying to comfort yourself, trying to put yourself first. And to come around feeling guilty about it, to be like, let's just practice more self-support and kindness. It's like, that's what you were doing all day that was hell for everybody else.
Well, and you also have to just note for a second that if those other people were going to cut toxic people out of their life and never look back,
it'd be you.
It would be you that they cut
You're
out.
the toxic people that is not bringing joy to the elderly man at the grocery store that you yelled at 4 times or whatever. Maybe she didn't yell at him 4 times. Maybe she yelled at him after he did something she didn't like 4 times. I'm not sure what happened. The result, though, is that, like, that idea, though, of in the end, just be nice to you is like, exactly. And that's how society blows apart at the seams.
Yeah.
If we all prioritize what we think is most fun for us, then...
Well, it really is like saying, I have decided to drive the wrong way down the one-way street because I want to.
This is my best route.
So it's like, it will cause some carnage if you decide to go that direction instead of the other one.
Yeah.
When you're kind and thoughtful and giving and practicing kindness to others, then it brings one result. When you do the same thing for yourself, happiness does not flow from thence.
Exactly.
Because if she was having a snot-faced cry on the internet about it, it just proves to you that it didn't bring her the happiness.
No, she wasn't
thought.
feeling better for having done what she wanted. It wasn't making things feel good. It was not. It's so much like children, like eating tons of candy or something. It's actually not a successful ploy. It's not like if we let our kids eat all the sugar they ever wanted, that will result in the best time they ever had.
Oh my word, Rachel. I don't know why this made me think of it. I did just tell you this story, but I just have to tell everybody else because soup night this week, I had a real flash in the middle of extravaganza because I had unloaded all my groceries from the car to my porch. I had left them there as I was trying to madly prep, so I kept running out and grabbing more things off the porch, running in, then I'd go back for more. I went to get the chicken broth, and I had gotten 8 of those boxes of chicken broth, so 8 quarts of it, and they had put it, for some reason, because I'd done the grocery pickup service, they put it all in one plastic bag. And I pick it up, and I walk in, and both handles break simultaneously. The bag crashes on the floor. 8 boxes get bent up and dinged. And something's leaking, but you can't possibly tell which corner it is in that pile of corners.
And it's in a plastic bag.
In a plastic bag.
Origins are going to be hard to find. Yeah.
So I scoop the whole thing up in my arms, and I gallop through the house to the kitchen. And trailing chicken broth everywhere, and it's filling up my shoes as I go because it's just pouring down me.
Nice, yeah.
And then I managed to get it out. I'm pulling out each box, seeing if it's leaking. Of course, it's the final box that I pull out. By this point, I've got a big old puddle of chicken broth in the kitchen, a trail running out through the house, and both my shoes are full of chicken broth. It's all down my legs. I'm wearing a dress, so I've got chicken broth legs. And I have sloppy shoes.
Brings a whole new meaning to goose flesh.
Yeah.
Basting your legs in chicken broth.
I know. And so anyway, I just managed to get through that. And I did laugh. I was like, oh my word. Like, this is not a problem I anticipated having a minute ago. Well, then I laughed at it, and then I look out the window and our dog is out. She is gone. I don't know how. I don't know if it was when I was going back and forth to the porch. Maybe she snuck out and I missed it. I don't know. But she's out. And I was like, oh my heavens. Run out, call Dottie. She she just comes in looking like she's so pleased with herself for her time away. And then she comes in and starts puking all over my kitchen floor. Like, just...
This is rude, Dottie.
Just all over the floor. That was the piece that I was reminded of. Is she was out having a great time by herself, and then she came back and puked all over my floor. But it really brought me to a new place of trying to pursue godliness. In that moment, I was like, I'm nuts. It's like, I could laugh at the chicken broth. I don't know if I can laugh at this.
I liked it. A friend of mine, shout out to Morgan, who's probably too busy to listen to the podcast anyways, but she said that she had a moment this week where she actually told herself, pray for me, I'm going to the kitchen. But she was already in the kitchen. From in the kitchen, shouting a prayer request to yourself that you're gonna go there. And I like that because it's sort of like self pray for me, because I'm trying to go in a more spiritual state to the place that I already am.
And I just looked at that and I was like, well, I'm being tested now. I passed the chicken broth test.
Did fine with one thing, and then you're like, okay. Then for some reason, the
one
Lord
mercy
is
was
like, let's build up this
let's
particular muscle.
Let's try it. And then it turned out that in a real providence, a kind providence, I had paper towels.
Well, that is a blessing.
Because I don't always.
No, you could have been up in there with coffee filters.
Oh my word. Or who knows what. Like, at a certain point, you'd be like, we're going to just have to burn the kitchen off and start over, because...
I have those rags that I just throw away.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, I don't love this that much.
No.
Why would I want to see this again?
Never.
Or wash it? Never.
No, throw it out.
Moving on.
Immediately. Yeah, I almost have a hot tip, but I'm not sure if it's going to be good. And this is not the part of the...
Tell me your almost hot tip.
This is not yet the part where we should talk about it, but I'm still going to.
Well, whenever we designate a moment, we don't have one. So
no, I have it in my cart on the website, but I have not yet clicked order. So I'll have to report back and tell you if it's good. But I am getting a new garbage can. I'm ordering one because I have a specific need for it. And so I'm getting it from a restaurant supply online. But it comes with a variety of different bag options that pair with it. But there's one that is a super heavy duty janitor level that I am going to order. And I have a feeling that it might change my life.
we went for a long time, and now I can't find them. I can't find them in Moscow, but I was a huge advocate of the gorilla stand-up bags. They're big black bags that stand up by themselves.
Yeah, and these mostly...
If you have small children and you are cleaning out the stuff, use a black bag where they don't know what went in it. They don't know. They can't see it. They can't care.
No,
they will care. Things that they never saw.
It's just that to get a really thick garbage bag where it's not gonna puncture in the can and sog out the chicken broth.
What is this can like on the outside?
It's just a square. It's the dimensions that I needed. So, and actually it's blue, but that's neither here nor there. It's just the right.
Is there a square tall one?
Tonnage. Yeah.
A tall square.
And mostly it holds a lot, and it is the right size for where I need to put it. And it's harder than it seems to find the right garbage can. It really...
Yes.
It's a journey. The garbage journey. But...
I've been on a lot of journeys that I would call the garbage journey. I really have. It's a lot of life is trying to deal with.
But I feel like buying janitorial supply quality garbage bags that say they're really thick and heavy duty.
That might be the answer.
I think it might turn some things around for me because I just really hate garbage juice. You know how
I, on the other hand, delight in garbage juice. And one of my main goals is to ideally trickle some into your shoe. Like, Becca speaks of chicken broth in her shoes, which she doesn't mind at all. But garbage juice.
See, the thing is, like, you know how it is. You pull the bag out of the can, and it is, once it's gotten garbage juice in the bottom, it's all over. Because then every time you try to take the thing out, it's soggy and gross at the bottom.
Did I tell you that I have a friend who they were cleaning out a new to them space, and in it was a deep darkness that had happened in a freezer, and it was so bad, like, something that had been unplugged for a long time in the sweltering heat with stuff that used to be frozen. Just real bad times there. But
starting to remind me of the outer darkness.
They set a new record, I feel, that it was taken to the dump, and the man at the dump vomited when he opened the man whose life work is being at the dump vomited when the freezer was open. I think that speaks to a level of magnitude that you otherwise would not have expected.
I know. I don't know. I feel like if I can solve that problem, not that it always happens, but it's like, I don't know, if you get some little puncture in your bag and then whatever liquid dribbles around in there, it's so gross.
It's the kind of thing that happens if someone just recklessly throws away a hanger or a box with a really sharp corner,
exactly.
And then pretty soon you have the remnants of
of
stuff coming out of the garbage bag. It's tough times with garbages.
It's not okay.
I also wonder sometimes at our selection of topic. We're here to speak to all the listeners. All the listeners are always, messaging us their fan questions but tell us your approach to garbage juice. If you don't speak to this issue, who will? Well, never fear. What have you to the rescue? We don't like it. We're not fans of garbage juice.
No, let us tell you, we don't approve of garbage juice. Actually, if we tried, Rach, we could probably derive a good spiritual lesson.
Well, I first learned
garbage
to hate garbage juice as a child. I witnessed the lunch room garbages being emptied, and there was always the remainders of milks in the and so then some poor soul who was probably in fourth grade or something is trying to take a garbage bag out,
and
which they have
garbage juice behind them.
But then they drag it out because they can't hoik it. So then it is a long skid mark trail of garbage juice.
Yeah,
it's just Anyways, what I'm saying is rely on us for all your relevant content. All the everything you need to know, we talk about.
But Rach, try harder. Let's get a metaphor from it.
From the garbage juice?
Yeah, like that can bring it full circle.
I think we could wrap it up really nicely, actually, with emotional exhibitionalism.
That's what I'm saying.
Because it was like some things are meant to be on the inside of the heavy-duty plastic bag, and you keep them there. Keep them there.
Keep them tidy.
Don't go running around poking the leakage holes in that. It's not the way to bless your neighbor.
No.
It's just not.
No.
Anyways, I have another random complaint about the internet.
I don't know that anyone's had any complaints about the internet.
The internet,
lately, so
you'll be surprised to hear that things are not going. No, I read a thread. I think Summer posted about it on Twitter, maybe, but it was just someone being like complaining about their Catholic university that's not giving them enough maternity leave time, and kind of like, you call yourselves pro-life, but you're only giving me 8 weeks of maternity leave.
Yeah.
And that, like, to be truly pro-life would be to give me a lot more maternity leave. I think
maybe you could stay home and be a mom.
Well, that's sort of the ticket. I was like, which one of us is not being really pro the life of the baby right now?
Oh,
Because to act like that's your employer. But the thing that I really wanted to bring up about this is I actually think is really helpful for everybody to think about. And that is that the baby does not belong to your employer. You're not actually a slave. But to act like that is to treat yourself and your child like the property of your employer. Right. And to say that they must pay, it's sort of like it's acting like your boss is the baby daddy. Like you must support this child instead of thinking that you're actually a free woman, that this is your domain. This is your, the baby is not the responsibility of a Catholic college to take care of it. And I hate it because they're talking about it very specifically, like my baby is not ready for me to leave her with. Yeah. Like, and whose problem is that then? Like that you're the one, you're the one then who should notice that and take responsibility for it. And it's not really your boss that is obligated to pay you for full-time work when you're not there.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's that slavery mindset is the thing that I was thinking, like, isn't that interesting to think that they have to do this for me because somehow my life is their responsibility. Like, my
life as a mother.
This whole situation is their purview somehow.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is really random.
But it's not at all. It's very, very, it's not random for Christians to be thinking this is legislation and stuff that needs to happen now.
Speaking of babies, did you see the other internet sensation that was that child being a wicked evil episode?
The butter eater?
The everything eater?
Yeah. I showed that video. I saw it and I liked it not. But I showed it to some of my kids, whoever was nearby at the time. And they also were just not at all amused by it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like I feel like you have to parse your feelings on this because I want to say I understand the humor of witnessing a child being a deep evil grabbing a butter stick. Yeah. Like, it's funny. It's sin that's
wolfing the raw egg.
But it would have been hilarious if you felt like someone loved that child enough to not let him be this way.
Yeah.
But they were letting it be like, it was more like, well, we got through that in the end. Look at his funny face or what. I mean, it was not, to me, that was a really unloving video.
Yeah, totally.
Like, well, way to make this child no fun. Yeah, but
what can I do?
Why don't you go build something with Magnetized?
Actually, I don't want to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go draw a picture?
I don't want to.
Really?
Stand on one foot.
That sounds like the best entertainment there ever has been. The best one. Hold on. Speaking of things that need to be dealt with. All right. We're back. We're back again. So tell me what your thoughts on that video were.
Very similar, where it was just sort of like, it's funny in one sense and so deeply unfunny in every other sense.
That was my feeling, is that, like, if you're a parent who can watch it and think, blah, ha, 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 that's so funny, then I think you need to probably avail yourself of the means of getting your child to obey you.
Well, I think, actually, my daughter, I think we were talking about that video. She was like, the thing that's so mean is that could be a hilarious kid. You're like,
exactly.
And you're like, that could be such a funny kid, and then you're letting him turn into a monster.
And apparently to I didn't look like that was his mom.
I think it's his grandma.
Yeah, but it looked like everyone's just settled for this being. Mm-hmm. That there's nothing can be done about this. And I'm like, have an imagination. Fast forward this child to being a teenage boy who can't keep his hands off of girls, and there you have a different look.
No, I was
right? Like he cannot stop himself from indulging his impulses.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is like that is the rapist frat boy. Like,
100%. You're brewing up, and right now he's cute.
He is
but he's
cute
not
and hilarious.
Not for long. I think he probably has a few more minutes of being cute while he's being bad, and then it's going to be just deep evil.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it would have been. It's sort of like I couldn't look at a little girl in a beauty pageant kind of contest and be like, she's so pretty, because it's already being so
sad.
It's so
the
sad.
Trajectory is
I
sad.
cannot remove. I can't look in the abstract at this without seeing the whole situation around it and being horrified.
And honestly, even if that was a character in a movie, you could see laughing at it in a different way. When the fact that
if it was a skit,
if it was a character,
this was but it's not. A real person.
A real person, and it's a real person that you're allowing to turn into something that I think you'll really regret later.
Well, I hope you will really regret it.
Yeah.
It makes me. I kind of felt like it is a thing where we have to like Christian mothers. This is a big responsibility that you bear. Mm-hmm. Is actually having the imagination and the insight to see the future in a child, and to see in that. And this is where we might get the hashtag spank the future. Spank, like. It's a cute little, little baby, cute little toddler right now who, while being deeply bad, is still funny.
And has a lot of potential.
Yeah, but you still feel like, oh, that's just cute and funny, but it's so not going to be funny soon. No. That at least laugh about it when you've already taken care of it. Like when you've already handled it, it's funny.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is I really did think it's downright hilarious when one of your toddlers goes off on a real stink.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
But you cannot
But it is
laugh
only
at it
funny.
in the moment.
No, it's only funny after you've gotten the victory. After it's like, it would not be funny at all if you left them in that, wallowing around in that, to go tell your friends how funny they're being. It's not funny. It's that.
Well, it's kind of like a fail video is funny when you know that the person's okay.
Didn't die. They didn't die.
Yeah, and if the person died, that's not a funny fail video. And it's similar. It's like when you wipe out on the sidewalk, that's funny when you got up and you're okay. If you got hauled away in an ambulance, not that funny now. And
no, it changes the dynamic.
Right. So it's fine to laugh at the epic thing that your toddler did after it has been corrected, forgiven,
discarded as a way of living, like
moved past
after your child has turned away from that.
And it's really, I felt like it was always really important in the moment, even if I was saving it up to wheeze about it to Ben when he got home. You can't laugh at the kid. You can, I mean, no, you don't. You have to tell them that's a big no. Yeah, it's really
this
important.
Is what you're doing right now is a big no. And
sometimes that's really hard. Like, I don't know if I have told this story on the podcast, or maybe I have. Maybe I've told it 4 times. I don't know. But when Belle was really very small and couldn't speak super well just yet, but she really liked to scandalize her elder brother and sister with things, that would throw them into a tizzy. And we had some Mormon missionaries came to the door. And after they left, Knox and Jemima, who were a little bit older, wanted to know what was that. And Knox was probably like 3. And so they're small, you're trying to tell them that this is, a false religion.
Knox was more than 3
4?
Because how would Belle be talking?
Yeah, no, you're right. Knox was probably 4. And then Gemma 2 and Belle 1. Yeah, probably 4. Anyway, so you're trying to explain Mormonism on a 4-year-old level, where it's just,
Things are tough with that explanation.
kind of false gods. They're worshiping some false gods is usually where we went with things like that. And so then they just sort of decided that Mormons were one of the great evil things. It's like there's pirates, there's dragons, there's Mormons.
Also Mormons, yeah.
Mormons are one of the ones that you got to watch for. So, Belle upstairs, I remember she's in her little onesie, like a little fat toddler. And she told her brother and sister, I'm a Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Knox and Jemima came panicking down the stairs. Mom, Belle is a Mormon. I was like, what? And they're like, she's a Mormon. Belle's a Mormon. And I'm like, no, she's not. And don't worry about that. And Belle comes down. And she had settled into the face of sin. Like, the face.
Oh, yeah.
Resting
It's
face.
like, it's the face when dogs put their ears back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she had it. She had that settled, like, I am going to do this. And she's like, I'm a Mormon. Like, Belle, you're not a Mormon. And you're not. And you're looking into this little fat face, trying to keep a straight one yourself.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's actually
Belle,
not a joke.
Belle Phoebe, you are not a Mormon. And she goes, yes, I am. She
didn't say yes because at the time she said lep.
Lep.
She would say like yep, but she said L's.
Lep. She's like, lep I am. And she goes, I'm a Mormon. Mormons are toot. And that was her cute. Mormons are toot. And then Knox and Jemima are about to faint.
Knox and Jemima are like
evil.
taking it really like false worship is currently happening, and with our sister in her onesie.
Yeah, and Belle is defiantly looking me in the eye and saying, Mormons are toot. And I mean, you can't. It is very hard.
You're like, you sit here. I'm
gonna
gonna go whoop and holler on the back porch, and then I'm gonna come back in here and have this here showdown.
She was trying to think of the worst thing that she could say she was, and she was going to be that thing. And for her, that was a Mormon.
Yeah, big time.
And you can see that this is like a deep need to be rebellious right now.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And so much like...
And
you
so
can't
not
let
actually... That. No, but it's not a threat of what she was saying. But it actually absolutely is a threat. That somebody's going to try out a little something. And then if you let that stand, that'll grow.
It will
that's
grow.
the thing
and
that's going
it
to grow.
was obviously the attitude that was all that and then some that needed to be corrected. But the actual point of contention was so funny that Mormons are too.
Yeah, I remember a strong memory for me from Belle was when Belle took all the cushions off of your couch, which was a no. It was a no.
It was a constant
It was
battle,
an established no.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And Ben had come home and he said, Belle Phoebe, did you take the cushions off of the couch? Because they were all off the couch. And she just whizzed around to him and said, Lep, I did. And I found a peanut and I ate it. And not only did I do the thing that you said not to do, while I was at it, I ate a peanut.
And the thing is that could be really funny. Like,
But it's only funny that we know that Belle learned that she had done a misdeed. I mean, like, it's only funny because Belle is not currently a Mormon.
She's not a Mormon.
Disobeying her father.
No, she can leave the cushions on the couch now, too.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is you have to not just laugh at the funny manifestation of the sin.
Exactly.
You have to see that the sin itself is trying to destroy your child's soul.
You have to take it really seriously at this, even when it's being funny.
And
that's the thing.
Who is it that said, is it John Owen who said, be killing sin or it'll be killing you. And the thing is you need to be killing sin in your children or it will be killing them. And you have to realize it really is a fight for their soul. And that's not a small stakes operation. Neither should you forget to have a sense of humor and punish a 2-year-old for heresy, because
No,
that's
my
not
word.
what was happening.
No, that was not the thing. I was
No.
remembering the time when Lena pitched a Monster Town surprise fit while I was buckling her into her car seat one time. And I think it even surprised her. Like, she arched her back really wildly. She was like a little older than that should have happened. You know, it was not the infant child who is also being sinful, but arching their back like crazy. It was, she was old enough for it to be weird of her to have done it. And I looked at her really surprised, and I said, Lena. And she said, it wasn't me. It was my naughty little back. And at the same time as you have to laugh, like, oh, really? The sin was located in your back, not just in your heart, you know? Yeah. But at the same time as it's funny, it's not funny.
No.
Right? Like, it's the combination of funny plus not that it's difficult to thread as a parent.
Yeah.
I find it very funny when toddlers are being bad and their parents are being diligent. Like, when the parents are diligent, toddler sin is absolutely funny.
Yeah.
But when the parents are losing a little bit of ground all the time, it's not funny. I mean, like, nothing here is funny. And it's like, now I feel sick for you because you're not handling this. And I actually think that there's a skill in parenting that is the version of putting your finger on the eyeball. Like, it is the skill of honing in on the thing that would be representative of the whole. Yeah. Right? Because it's sort of like when you're throwing pottery. You exert pressure in one place and it shapes the whole thing. Right. You do not parent well and wisely and kindly by exerting force on all fronts everywhere at all times. No. That is absolutely a no fun way to live or to be. It's a horrible, difficult way to parent. Like, all the time with little kids and toddlers, we were not choosing some battles. No. But if your kid was starting to seem like we're heating up for something, there's some problems afoot, then we would make a point of choosing the battle we were going to win all the way.
Sometimes the battle chooses you. And
yeah, for sure.
In those instances, it is absolutely vital that you
even if at the same time you're telling yourself, note to self, don't so quickly give a command that you're not going to follow through on. Or like when you realize, oh, what was I thinking that I said that right now?
But if the battle has been picked, you had better win it. And you had better win it even if it means calling to say, I'm sorry, we're not going to make it to your house for dinner tonight.
Right.
We're sorry that
by
this
all
came up,
means.
but we have a battle to win. Now, you might not say that on the phone, but you still need to prioritize it to that degree.
It's the point is that I actually think your kids need to know that that's the level at which that you'd be willing to cancel up anything.
There were plenty of times that, when I say plenty, I know it was plural. It happened in the plural times. Right. That we just came to church about halfway through because somebody wouldn't eat their breakfast in an obedient way. And so you're like, well,
look at how
looks like we're in it now.
There was a particular, we had different kids with different, what we called the showstopper sins. Yeah. The one that's like, and now everything has ground to a total halt because we had one who would put her hands over her eyes at such a time as that. Like, where you'd be like, get in the car, but instead of doing that, she's standing with her hands over her eyes. Oh, yeah. And, but they were always evidence of stuff that hadn't been dealt with before that. Like, there was some signal flag moment where you're like, this is manifesting that there's actually a real issue that we have to go deal with. And it's going to take more time, and we need to, as parents, settle into the fact that this is our top priority right now. Like, this is the one that has to be dealt with right now.
It totally does. And so when the battle finds you, you have to always win. And when you pick the battle, you also have to always win. It's just very key that you have to always win.
Yeah, which I think it's hard to talk about this kind of thing with people who don't know you and don't know, like, but that the tone of delight and joy is what should dominate your home. Mm-hmm. Those battles are fought for the preservation of it. Exactly. Not to get back into your it's not like if
not
a kid got
to the stern-faced,
not to get back to the fierce and tedious and dark times where we scowl at you
and we do chores and that's all.
And what we do is effective chores. Takes us right back to the high pleated khaki pants. Takes us right back to the bowl cut. That it's not. We're not trying to preserve order in the home. No. And then you get into all this discipline if anybody laughs too loud in your house.
Ben and I were talking about this the other day, and the thing is, I'm sure we've said this before on the podcast, but parenting is actually a totally different skill than logistics.
Oh yeah, wildly different. Wildly different.
Can come into play in your parenting, but it's relatively easy to master the logistics. When I say that, it's like, are you joking? How is it easy to master logistics? But that is something that can be done. You can run a tight ship and you can make your children march in step. Like, that's a thing you can do, but that's logistics. That's not parenting. Mm-hmm. And parenting is much more like an artistic endeavor.
Well, a big part of this logistics thing is a big deal. Big deal. Because the more mother dominated the home is, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, if you're homeschooling all of your kids and your husband is at work, the mother is the main, like that mm-hmm. that is the force right. under which the children are all growing up. Nothing is easier for mothers than to focus 100% on the logistics and ignore the things that require a lot more, like, grace, prayer,
right. So like,
wisdom. How do I encourage this young man not to just be mother's right hand, soft spoken child?
Right. Or let's say you have your 8-year-old daughter is in a cold fume, but she's being quiet up in her room right now, so you just let it go.
You're like, well, she's not in the way of right. what I need to do, so it's fine.
Right. But we actually need to go because it's...
Did we already spend all of our time?
We spent it. It's done.
I think we should follow up on this discussion.
I think we should.
Little chickens.
Note to self, next time.
Remind us next time. Guys, send in your urgent questions, like what we think of Aquanet, hairspray, garbage juice.
Garbage juice, anything like that.
What about, like, cheese that's gone stale? Like, there any important questions?
How do you feel about chicken broth in your shoes?
And we'll try to talk about that most of the time, and then at the end we'll touch on something you probably care about. All right, until next time.
All right, bye.